These tortillas are so yummy, and they stay soft and pliable even days after cooking them. Now let's get started making some deliciously soft sourdough tortillas. You need 1 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, that's okay. You can actually make your own buttermilk if you have one of those little cartons of whipping cream. You just whip that together, keep mixing just like you're making whipping cream. Don't stop until you see it completely separate from solids to liquids. This will take about 15 minutes. Strain out the liquid byproduct from the butter, and that is buttermilk. Then you're left with delicious butter and buttermilk. Now, this isn't the same buttermilk that you would find in the store. That is cultured buttermilk. This is lacking that culture. If you were curious as to how to get that culture, you could actually add kefir, however you want to say it, or you can even add a little bit of buttermilk to the whipping cream, and you let it sit out for about 8 hours to 24 hours. And then after mixing, you are left with cultured buttermilk. Buttermilk is more acidic than regular milk. It enhances the flavor as well as affects the texture and helps with leavening. Now, if you don't have whipping cream, that's okay. You can use milk and half of a lime, or lemon, or cream of tartar even, or vinegar, or sour cream and water. There's many alternatives. If you don't have that, that's okay too. Just use a cup of milk, or even a milk alternative. I made 2 recipes, and on the second one, I used milk with the lime. And just let it sit for 15 minutes. Next, pour in 1/8 of a cup of oil. I'm using olive oil, but you can use whatever oil you'd like. Now add 1/4 of a cup of starter. It could be discard or active. I ended up making the 2 batches because I like freezing them so I don't have to make them that often. On the second batch, I used the more active starter. This starter doubled in size. I did put it in the fridge and it shrank a bit, but it's still pretty active. But on the first batch, I used discard.
1 second. If you like this video, would you please like and subscribe? I'd really appreciate it.
Now add a teaspoon of salt and give it a good mix. Now you're going to add about 3 cups of all-purpose flour, but add it slowly. You basically want to use as least amount of flour as possible to keep it more shaggy. We're looking for it to be nice and moist on the inside, but workable on the outside. So just add enough flour that you can work with it. You're going to be adding flour to the outside of it anyways. Leave it just a tad too sticky, and then when you start to knead it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that you can either just let it rest for a few minutes or let it rest for a few hours if you want to ferment it a bit. I am making about 6 tortillas out of 1 batch. You can make them whatever size you want, whether you want less tortillas but larger or more tortillas but smaller. You don't have to weigh this, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if you do want them more exact, you just weigh the whole ball of dough, then divide by the amount of tortillas you want. Dividing the dough by 6 gives me roughly about 8-inch size tortillas. So this is the size if you divide them by 6. If I want larger ones, once they're defrosted, I'll usually just double them up if needed. This sticky gooey, roll it into the surface, and I'm kind of like using my thumb as, so you take it and you pull it in. To roll them and to build a little bit of structure, you just fold the edges into themselves and then roll it into a ball. I just roll it on my other hand. Now I'm rolling it in my hand and I'm kind of using my thumb as a little bumper. And as you're rolling these, if they get sticky, just dip them in a little more flour. So after you're done rolling them into balls, then you can place them individually in parchment paper. I mean, you can cook them. Now, I'll show you how to cook them in a moment, but for the rest, you can stick in the freezer and then you'll have them ready to go when you want them, so you don't have to make the recipe every single time. I typically will make 3 batches at a time. Now, to freeze them, you first want to wrap them in something like parchment paper or wax paper individually so that they don't stick together before they're frozen. Then ideally take them out a few hours before and just let them thaw before you're ready to cook them. But if you are in a rush, like I typically am, and forget to pull them out, then I will just, while I'm cooking, have them close to the stove, close to the burner, and kind of rotate them throughout the time when I'm cooking. And then by the end, they're pretty much ready to cook. Preheat. When you're rolling out the tortilla, if it starts retracting, then you can just wait about 10 minutes and let the gluten relax a bit, and then it will allow you to stretch more. But if you're like me and you're impatient, I stretch it out myself like it's a pizza. Let it cook on one side until you see it starting to bubble up a little bit. I didn't even need to do it that quickly, but whatever. That will take anywhere from like 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half. Just look for the bubbles and then flip it over. And I don't cook them all the way through. I cook them and leave them a little bit raw. Number one, we like them that way. And number two, they'll stay soft for longer. And then you can re-cook them. Let's say you pre-cook them just so they're ready to go, and then you just heat them up for dinner. That's what I like to do. And then you'll have delicious homemade tortillas whenever you want them. Okay, if you had a tortilla warmer, this would be perfect to put in the tortilla warmer. But I don't have a tortilla warmer.
Yeah, she doesn't have one because her husband neglects her.
Yes, so unless my husband wants to get me a tortilla warmer.
Hey, you know how to flip these? Watch, this is how you do it. Watch this. Your husband's going to show you. I'm on the channel, everybody. My name's Jason. Look at that flip, okay? That's
You're
flipping
supposed
good.
to let it stay.
That's flipping good. Okay, look at.
Get out of here.
Look at. I know how to cook tortillas.
I'm cutting all of this out, by the way. Yes,
Mucho
I am.
pajado, huh?
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely cutting it out.
You pat the tortilla. You know why you pat it? You know why you pat it?
You're not supposed to pat it.
You gotta liven the yeast.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, look at that. It's like I work at cafeteria.
Okay, there you go.
4 hours later.
It's now the evening, and I just want to show you, these are still super soft. I had them in a plastic bag. I just wrapped them in a paper towel just to keep them, and then I left the bag open since they were still warm. But these are still super soft and ready to cook up again. See, they're awesome. Should definitely give them a try.
1 day later.
Here's the next day I'm cooking the tortilla. It's still soft and pliable. They'll be good for a few days, actually. I hope you enjoyed this video. Underneath my bed, you got no money to spend. No. Oh gosh. Wait, am I even videoing? Okay.
If you were going, I would have asked you to get one for you to buy me one anyways. And you would have said yes.
Where are you going? See you later, dude.
Where are you going?
Get out of my hair, bro.
It's gonna be melted by the time
Yeah.
I get around the Christmas. I'll order it after I order it. If I actually pay for mine and get the
Don't do that.